Ahead of this 28-point, now 19-point peace plan that's supposed to end the Russia-Ukraine conflict, Jared Kushner, his son-in-law, got involved around October. This all took place in Miami over extended discussions with Ukrainian and Russian proxies and also Mr. Witkoff.
Are you suitably stuffed yet, or does all the big eating happen later on in the day for you?
It usually happens a little later in the day.
So you're just preparing your tummy to ingest huge amounts of what, turkey, pumpkin pie?
Indeed, everything and anything. This is not a day to hold back.
You're just going to hoover it all up. Fantastic. Well, before you eat yourself into a stupor, let's get some sense from you with what's been going on today, this Thanksgiving Day. It never stops, of course. And look, most of the US, I know, is still reeling from the shooting of two members of the National Guard in Washington, D.C. yesterday. We heard from Donald Trump on this. He didn't pull his punches when condemning the attack.
America will never bend and never yield in the face of terror. We will make America totally safe again, and we will bring the perpetrator of this barbaric attack to swift and certain justice if the bullets going in the opposite direction haven't already done that.
Well, earlier this evening, Anita, it emerged that the suspect, a 29-year-old Afghan national, had worked for the CIA in Afghanistan. Give us some more detail.
So all we know at this point is he worked with the CIA unit in Kandahar. That's, of course, a Taliban stronghold. Further, we know that this person came to the United States in 2021 as part of Operation Welcome Allies, which was basically a special visa program for Afghans who had helped U.S. forces during the 20-year occupation of Afghanistan. And we also know that he was shot, but he remains alive at this time.
Okay. And in terms of those National Guard members, they are still in a critical condition.
That's what we've heard lately from their families. But of course, that's a very delicate situation right now. It's very touch and go.
Yeah. And, you know, sadly, last night we had the West Virginia governor, I think, saying that they'd passed away when they actually hadn't. So that there's already been a bit of confusion over that. That's why everyone's being very, very careful about this. What does this mean for those people like the suspect who came over to the United States after US troops withdrew from Afghanistan?
Trump mentioned this yesterday in his remarks and said that he was going to institute an immediate review of all Afghans, or about 70,000 of them, who came to the U.S. under this 2021 program. But he also alluded to the Somali community in Minnesota, which we don't have any known connection to this event, but he's implying that refugee community might also be affected by increased scrutiny or ICE actions. That's Homeland Security actions. He also said, by the way, he's going to dispatch another 500 National Guard members to the District of Columbia.
And is there a chance that Donald Trump has a point here, that the vetting process for those Afghans who had to very quickly sort of be scrambled to the US may not have been as good as it should have been?
I mean, I don't want to venture any guesses about the psychology of this individual or why he committed what is clearly a heinous, just irreproachable crime. But this does, Trump and his followers are using that to illustrate this very point, that the Biden administration did not adequately scrutinize these individuals before bringing them here.
Okay, all right. Now, after the leak of Steve Witkoff's discussion with his Russian counterpart appearing to school him on how best to flatter the president, it now appears that Trump has turned to the one person he can trust when it comes to securing international peace, his son-in-law, Jared Kushner. How's he getting involved with this?
So what we heard was ahead of this 28-point, now 19-point peace plan that's supposed to end the Russia-Ukraine conflict, Jared Kushner, his son-in-law, got involved around October. This all took place in Miami over extended discussions with Ukrainian and Russian proxies and also Mr. Witkoff, who is the non-diplomat and best friend of Trump, who memorably did not get his own translator when meeting with Vladimir Putin. So I do wonder how much credible information Mr. Witkoff has been getting from these discussions. But yeah, Jared Kushner has been involved since about late October, buoyed by the success or their perceived success of the Gaza peace plan.
The Abraham Peace Accords before that as well. I mean, are the public happy with Trump entrusting such a huge issue to a member of his family?
Well, we usually do see some pushback from the president involving his family in major diplomatic diplomatic issues, especially since they don't have diplomatic experience and the U.S. State Department is chock full of diplomats with diplomatic experience. We can expect that pushback. But also, of course, Kushner's Abraham Accords so far have been implemented. And so he has that argument on his side. It's going to be deeply divided, just like America today. And we're going to see it at our Thanksgiving tables.
Absolutely. And what of negotiations concerning a peace plan for Ukraine? We know that Vladimir Putin today said that they're taking discussions seriously. Apparently, the US and Ukraine are continuing to meet. Those discussions are going on. Is there any other news, or do we expect there to be kind of a bit of a lull whilst Thanksgiving takes place?
Right. Well, notably, Trump set a deadline for Zelensky to sign this accord as today, but then he backed off of that on Monday. So we're not expecting to see this signed today. We are expecting negotiations in Geneva between the three parties, that's the U.S., Russia, and Ukraine, in coming days. And they're going to discuss this now reduced 19-point peace plan. So that's what's ahead.
Yeah, and we know that Vladimir Putin has also said the deal is pointless while Zelensky is still in office. And so here we get the sort of merry-go-round of, yes, we agree in principle, but we've got a certain set of conditions and those will never be met. Let's talk about, this. Well, this could have been lifted right out of a George R.R. Martin fantasy novel. Denmark has set up a night watch, not to keep out the wildlings or the White Walkers, like the Night Watch's Game of Thrones, but to monitor Donald Trump's announcements and movements while Copenhagen sleeps. It comes as the US president has repeatedly threatened to take control of Greenland, of course, which Denmark owns. Is this a sensible approach? I mean, I suppose when you think about time differences, it does make sense, Anita?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Copenhagen's now going to start monitoring Trump's pronouncements between their 1700 and their 09100, which is our 1300, that's 1 p.m., to our 0300, which are pretty big hours for Donald Trump. I actually looked into the patterns of his social media presence. He's hottest between 10 and 11 in the morning. That's U.S. time. That's when the stock market is in full swing. He kind of peaks and keeps very active until 6 p.m. Then he has maybe a little bit of a lull, and then he only slows down between 0100 and 600. So this actually does make sense because you don't want diplomats waking up to surprising news. And Donald Trump is the king of surprising news, especially since these three parties, Greenland, Denmark, and the U.S., are set to meet next month in Greenland to talk about Trump's ambitions for Greenland.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. We will watch that one closely. Anita, it's always great to hear from you. Thank you. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy stuffing yourself silly later and enjoy the holiday. Take care. Anita Powell there, who is a US-based reporter.